Explain the political structure of Rome.
The political structure of ancient Rome was one of the most influential systems in world history. It evolved through three main phases: monarchy, republic, and empire, each marked by significant shifts in power distribution, institutional development, and citizen participation. 1. Monarchy, 753 BCE, 509 BCE. Rome was founded, according to legend, in 753 BCE by Romulus, the first of 7 kings. During this period, Rome was ruled by monarchs who held absolute power over the military, judiciary, religious rights, and administration. Kings were considered sacred figures with divine right to rule. The king acted as commander-in-chief, chief priest, and supreme judge. A senate of elder aristocrats existed as an advisory body, but it had no legislative power. The monarchy ended in 509 BCE when the last king, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, was overthrown due to his tyranny, leading to the birth of the Republic. 2. Republic, 509 BCE, 27 BCE. The Roman Republic marked a revolutionary shift in governance from monarchy to a system based on checks and balances, shared authority, and citizen participation. Major institutions. Consuls. 2 consuls were elected annually to serve as heads of state and military commanders. They could veto each other's decisions. Senate. Though it didn't have lawmaking power, it wielded great influence over foreign policy, finance, and administration. Membership was usually for life and composed of aristocrats. Popular assemblies. Comitia Centuriata voted on war or peace, laws, and elected top officials. Comitia Tributa focused on civil matters and elected lower magistrates. Tribunes of the plebs represented the commoners, plebeians, and had veto power over decisions by the Senate and magistrates. Social conflict. The Republic also witnessed a prolonged struggle between patricians, elite class, and plebeians, commoners. Through peaceful protests and demands, plebeians gradually earned political rights and access to high offices. 3. Empire, 27 BCE, 476 CE. By the late Republic, internal conflict, power-hungry generals, and civil wars weakened the state. The assassination of Julius Caesar in 1944 BCE led to the rise of Octavian, Augustus, who in 27 BCE became the first Roman emperor, ending the Republic and starting the empire. Features of Imperial Rome. The emperor held absolute power, commander-in-chief, lawgiver, chief priest, and head of state. Republican institutions like the Senate still existed but were symbolic, with real authority vested in the emperor. The early empire was relatively stable under capable emperors like Augustus, Trajan, and Hadrian. However, later emperors such as Nero and Caligula became infamous for their cruelty and misrule. Conclusion. Rome's political structure evolved from a divine monarchy to a balanced republic, and finally into a centralized empire. Each stage reflected the changing needs and challenges of Roman society. The Roman Republic especially laid the foundation for modern ideas of representative government, checks and balances, separation of powers, and civic duty. Its legacy is evident in modern political systems, particularly in Western democracies.
Do you agree that Roman art almost completely reflects the Greek art forms?
Introduction. Ancient Greek and Roman civilizations represent two foundational pillars of Western art. While it is true that Roman art was heavily influenced by Greek art, the notion that it almost completely reflects Greek forms is an oversimplification. Romans not only adopted Greek traditions but also modified, expanded, and redefined them according to their own cultural, political, and technical needs. Key points. 1. Greek idealism versus Roman realism in sculpture. Greek sculptures idealize the human form, emphasizing perfect proportions, youth, and balance. Romans adopted these forms but introduced verism, a style that portrayed individuals with realistic facial features, wrinkles, and expressions. Roman portraiture, especially of emperors and senators, conveyed personal identity and political symbolism, differing from Greek abstract idealism. 2. Architectural innovation. Greek architecture centered on columns, Doric, Ionic, Corinthian, and emphasized temples and open-air theaters. Romans, while borrowing these styles, innovated through arches, domes, and concrete, which allowed for large-scale construction. Structures like the Colosseum, Pantheon, and aqueducts are examples of Roman innovation beyond Greek limitations. 3. Painting and mosaic development. Roman painting adopted Greek themes such as mythology but expanded into daily life scenes, nature, and landscapes. Wall frescoes and floor mosaics used techniques like perspective and shading to create depth and realism. Roman art reflected not just aesthetic beauty but functional decoration for villas, public baths, and temples. 4. Purpose and function of art. Greek art was often philosophical and symbolic, centered on exploring ideal beauty and divine forms. Roman art was more pragmatic and propagandistic, used to express power, commemorate victories, and decorate public spaces. Art became a tool of the state, promoting imperial ideology and social order. Conclusion. While Roman art owes much to Greek prototypes, it would be inaccurate to view it as merely derivative. Romans absorbed Greek ideals but transformed them to reflect their own values, technologies, and ambitions. Roman art is not a copy of Greek art, but rather its adapted and evolved form, infused with realism, functionality, and innovation. It stands as an independent artistic tradition that carried Greek aesthetics forward, while defining its own identity across a vast and diverse empire.
Why was the Roman world referred to as a civilization of borrowings? Explain.
Introduction. The Roman world is often described as a civilization of borrowings because it absorbed and adapted elements from various earlier cultures, particularly the Greeks, Etruscans, Egyptians, and Carthaginians, to shape its own identity. Key points. 1. Influence from Greek culture. Roman art, sculpture, and architecture were heavily inspired by Greek styles. Greek gods were adopted with Roman names. Example, Zeus became Jupiter, Athena became Minerva. 2. Religious and mythological borrowings. Romans incorporated Greek and Etruscan deities into their own pantheon. They adapted myths, rituals, and ceremonies to suit Roman values and traditions. 3. Literature and language. Roman authors like Virgil and Horace modeled their epics and poetry on Greek works. The Roman education system was based on Greek curriculum, particularly rhetoric and philosophy. 4. Administration and legal systems. Rome adopted administrative techniques and legal concepts from conquered civilizations. These influences shaped Roman law, which later became a foundation for modern legal systems. Conclusion. Rather than creating entirely new systems, the Romans were adept at borrowing and synthesizing ideas from other cultures. This cultural appropriation was not a weakness, but a strategic strength that allowed Rome to build a vast, adaptable, and enduring civilization.
What was the relationship between lord and vassal?
Introduction. In medieval Europe, the feudal system was the dominant social and political structure. Within this system, the relationship between a lord and a vassal was central and based on land in exchange for service, formalized through an oath of fealty, loyalty. Key points. 1. Granting of land. Fief. The lord granted a piece of land, known as a fief, to the vassal. This land served as the vassal's economic base and source of authority. 2. Military service. The vassal was obliged to provide military support to the lord when needed. This included personal participation in war and supplying armed knights. 3. Justice and protection. The lord was responsible for offering protection and legal support to the vassal. He acted as a judge in disputes among his vassals. 4. Mutual loyalty. The relationship was built on personal loyalty and mutual obligation. The vassal pledged loyalty and obedience, while the lord ensured protection and sustenance. Conclusion. The lord-vassal relationship was a foundational element of feudalism, characterized by mutual dependence, loyalty, and duties. It helped maintain order, distribute power, and organize military resources throughout medieval European society.
Name some religious sects or cults in the Roman world before the dominance of Christianity, and briefly describe the philosophies or ideas behind them.
Introduction. Before Christianity rose to dominance, the Roman world was home to various religious sects and mystery cults, each offering different explanations of the cosmos, the divine, the soul, and the afterlife. These cults often emphasized personal salvation and ritual initiation. Major sects and philosophies. 1. Cult of Mithras. Originating from Persia, it became especially popular among Roman soldiers. Represented the struggle between light and darkness. Followers underwent initiation rites and upheld values like loyalty, courage, and discipline. 2. Cult of Isis. Based on the Egyptian goddess Isis, it spread widely in Roman territories. Symbolized motherhood, resurrection, and compassion. Rituals focused on personal piety and emotional connection with the goddess. 3. Cult of Bacchus. Dionysus. Centered on the Greek god of wine, music, and ecstasy. Celebrated freedom, emotional release, and unity with nature through frenzied rituals. At times, associated with rebellion and was suppressed by the Roman Senate. 4. Stoicism. Though more philosophical than religious, Stoicism influenced Roman ethics, taught self-discipline, rationality, and living in harmony with nature, promoted virtue and inner peace as the highest goods. Conclusion. Prior to Christianity, Roman religion was pluralistic and spiritually diverse. These sects and philosophies offered various paths to understanding life, death, morality, and the divine.
The Abbasid Caliphate.
The Abbasid Caliphate rose to power in 750 CE after overthrowing the Umayyads. With Baghdad as their capital, the Abbasids ushered in Islam's golden age, promoting advancements in science, medicine, philosophy, and literature. The Caliph was both a spiritual and political leader, though real power eventually shifted to regional governors and foreign powers. Their administration was highly structured, and scholars thrived under their patronage. However, internal divisions and external invasions weakened them. In 1258, the Mongols sacked Baghdad, bringing an end to the Abbasid Caliphate's central authority.
The Kharijites.
The Kharijites were a radical Islamic sect that emerged during the First Fitna, the civil war between Ali and Muawiyah. They believed that leadership in Islam should be based strictly on piety, and that any Muslim who sinned should be expelled or killed. Their beliefs were marked by strict justice, egalitarianism, and extreme intolerance for opposition. They denounced both Ali and Muawiyah for political compromise. Although small in number, their ideology influenced later extremist groups in Islamic history and sparked debates on legitimacy and governance.
Arab trade with India.
Arab-Chinese trade flourished via both land, Silk Road, and maritime routes. Arab traders imported silk, porcelain, spices, and tea from China and exported horses, glassware, perfumes, and precious metals. Trade was not limited to goods. It also facilitated cultural and scientific exchanges. Arab settlements in Chinese port cities like Guangzhou show the depth of these interactions. Diplomatic missions and records from Chinese chronicles further confirm this enduring relationship, which significantly enriched both civilizations and contributed to global commercial connectivity.
Roman art.
Roman art was known for its realism and functionality. Heavily influenced by Greek art, it adapted classical styles to Roman tastes and purposes. In architecture, Romans introduced innovations like arches, domes, and aqueducts. Their sculptures and frescoes depicted gods, emperors, daily life, and military victories. Mosaics decorated homes and public spaces, showcasing both skill and storytelling. Roman art reflected power, civic pride, and cultural diversity as the empire expanded. It laid the foundation for Renaissance art and continues to influence Western aesthetics today.
Inca economy.
The Inca economy was primarily agrarian, relying on crops like potatoes, maize, and quinoa. Terraced farming and advanced irrigation techniques allowed cultivation in mountainous regions. There was no currency. Instead, the barter system and communal labor, known as mitha, were used. Citizens contributed labor for state projects like roads, temples, and storage facilities. The state controlled distribution through storehouses, kolkas, ensuring food security. This centrally planned, collective economy supported the empire's vast infrastructure and social welfare without the use of money or a market-based system.